do you want to start?
Hey guys, welcome back. Okay, so I gave you my top 10 movies of last year. Now I'm gonna try to give you my top 10 albums of last year. The reason why I'm more hesitant about this is my thoughts on music has always just been I like what I like. I have very eclectic taste, as you are probably about to see. And well, anyway, I don't know if I can articulate it as well as when I was talking about movies, but I'm gonna try anyway. So let's get this thing started with just a quick look at a few albums that for one reason or another barely didn't make the list. Alright, so let's start off with 1,000 Forms of Fear by Sia. Now, Sia started off as an indie music darling, then started doing crummy earworm songs for people like Flo Rida, and now her latest CD seems to be not back at her greatest, but a lot better than her latest collaborations. Album even includes a few songs that I really like Elastic Heart, but there were just a few songs that rubbed me the wrong way, so I felt like I couldn't put it on the list. Next we have Queen of the Clouds by Tove Lo. This one just isn't on the list because I found 10 albums that I liked slightly more. If I had an 11th spot, this would probably be it. Pretty cool concept album with some really cool songs like Habit, Stay High, and Talking Body, but there were just 10 others that I liked more. Next, X by Ed Sheeran. This one goes back to a rule that I like to place for myself because you see, I'm going to try to do top 10 songs as well, and I don't like to include albums that have a song on my top 10 songs or vice versa, but it's still a really cool album. Next, we have Awesome Mix Volume 1, the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack. This was an amazing soundtrack, but it's just that, a soundtrack. I don't feel like it would be right to put this up with albums that are completely 100% original material, and this is just known classic throughout the ages, but still really good soundtrack. You should all check it out. Okay, let's move on to the list proper with number 10. Sucker by Charli XCX. This one was a surprise for me. I mean, the single came out for the movie The Fault Is in Our Stars, Boom Clap, and I liked her on Fancy, but I didn't expect this. Her whole album, Sucker. It's kind of like a mix of classic 80s, 90s punk with modern pop, and yet it really works. It's different, but I really like it. And top of that, you got the unique tone of Charli XCX's voice, and you got yourself a pretty good album filled with really good songs like Boom Clap, Break the Rules, and London Queen. Overall, shocking but very good album. Next up, we have number 9. Rose Avenue by You Plus Me. Now, in case you didn't know, You Plus Me is a collaborating duo from Dallas Green, who's from the band City and Color, and then also Pink, and I am a huge Pink fan, the singer. This album, not what I expected. It's kind of like Pink decided to do her own version of an unplugged album, but put an awesome twist on it. Because this album is a little shorter than normal, 10 songs, but it goes with the saying short but sweet. The album is filled with folksy, minimalistic ballads showing how talented both the singers are separately and how well they blend together. I really don't know what else to say about it, except it's good, so let's move on to number 8. Black Star Elephant by Nico and Vince. This one is a weird one. Can't really be defined by a single genre. It's like pop, reggae, with heavy African influences, and some other worldly elements thrown in there. But it worked. All the songs are really good. They include such hits as Am I Wrong, In Your Arms, and other great songs like Miracles and Another Day. Overall, it seems very apt that an eclectic CD is on this eclectic list. Alright, let's move on to number 7. Little Machines by Light. Now, if you haven't heard of Lights, I really suggest her. She is a singer-songwriter with a very unique timbre to her voice. Now, this CD, Little Machines, is filled with really good written songs with catchy choruses and really cool electronic pop type backbeat. I knew this would happen when I started this list. Again, I don't know what to say besides. I think this is a really good CD that proves that pop music can be good. Alright, let's move on to something a little bit different with number 6. Hydra from Within Temptation. Yep, bet you weren't expecting this one. This CD is awesome. I love some good symphonic metal when it's matched with a very good lead singer. And with Temptation has that. Their latest CD is filled with some really good tracks that kind of invoke that feeling of epicness. And the CD's title, Hydra, is very apt because even though they keep within the symphonic metal subgenre, they still manage to make each track very unique and diverse. They also bring in some help with a few featured artists on tracks, like Howard Jones, Dave Pirner, and one of my favorite female vocalists, Tarja, who is formerly of the band Nightwish, which, oh boy, awesome. And lastly, most surprisingly, on their hit single And We Run, which is awesome, it features Exhibit. Yes, Exhibit from Pimp My Ride. But he does a surprisingly good job, and it makes a really cool rap rock song, which is something that I miss nowadays from music. Anyway, don't forget to rock on, and let's move on to number 5. Glorious by Foxes. After the success of her song that she did with the DJ Zed, Flaherty, which was a really good song, by the way, she comes out with her debut album, and boy is it a good debut. This CD has a lot of well-written songs, and the instrumentals are kind of singer-songwriter mixed with alternative rock to make this really cool, unique sound. Plus, Foxes herself has her own unique timbre to her voice, which I really like. Add to that a little bit extra melodrama to the mix, and you get yourself a really good album, in my opinion. If you want some specific tracks that are really good, stuff like Youth, Holding On to Heaven, and Glorious. But they're all good, in my opinion. That's why it's here. Anyway, moving on to number 4. Before I Sleep by Bo Bruce. I'm pretty sure very few of you know who she is. She was on The Voice UK. My opinion, she should have won, but that's another story anyway. Moving on, her debut album is awesome. Basically, take what I said about Fox's Glorious and amplify it. This song has great written songs. It's got a cool alternative rock feel to the music. And oh my god, Bo's voice. She has a very unique sounding voice. Now I know I've said that before, but when it comes to music, I kind of do have a little bit of a weakness towards female singer-songwriters with very unique sounding voices. But that doesn't diminish from how good this CD is. Again, don't know what else to say except for I really like it. So let's move on to number 3. Made It by One Republic. Now, One Republic has always been known for their catchy songs that are poppy, but also alternative, same time, and I've always liked them, but this time they seem to have stepped it up. I find myself not liking any of the songs on the album. And also, to add to this, as the name might suggest, they do add some folksy and worldly elements to their songs, which just seems to elevate it, in my opinion. And of course, they have very catchy songs. I was surprised how many. Really good album overall. Let's move on. We're getting close here, people. Number 2. In the Lonely Hour by Sam Smith. See, it's not just female singer-songwriters that I like. This album is really good, and Sam Smith's voice, it's high-pitched, but it's also kind of soulful a little. Kind of like classics like Smokey Robinson to a lesser degree, which, speaking of that era, Sam Smith's work seems to be inspired by roughly that time period music, with all these women out there like Adele who are clearly inspired by a previous generation. It's nice to see a guy who is. And all the songs are really good and have a lot of emotion, and I'm glad to see a fellow man out there not afraid to show his emotion. This album also has great songs on it, like the massive hit Stay With Me, the lesser hit but still great, I'm Not the Only One, and then ones that should be hit, like Money on My Mind, Leave Your Lover. I do truly believe that this is a really good album that deserves being the second best of the year, but it's not the best. That comes up next. So let's go ahead and get to it with number 1. 1989 by Taylor Swift. Yes, this is my favorite album of the year, and trust me, I'm just as surprised as you are. But I just kept listening to the songs, and I really like all of them. There's not a bad one in the bunch. Cause see, the thing for this one is that Taylor Swift has completely dropped any pretenses of being country, and not only has done straight up pop, but she's done straight up pop influenced by 80s music, and also a few tinges of alternative rock, which really got me. The songs are catchy, they're all good, there's no typical revenge song. I think the worst one of the bunch is her hit single from it, Shake It Off, but even that I come around to every once in a while, find myself dancing to it. This isn't easy to say, but you know what? Screw it. This is my favorite album. I shouldn't be ashamed about that. The songs are legitimately good. I like Taylor Swift on a whole. So there you go, guys. This was my top 10 albums of last year. Now, I can bet you that there were a few surprises on this list. I bet none of you saw number 1 coming. Anyway, join me next time where I continue this music train and try to do my top 10 songs from last year. See you then.